How's it going, everybody? It's the Bidenator here, and today we're going to be ranking the 9 Inch Nails discography.
Joe, did you forget about me?
Oh, yeah, sorry, Obama. Why don't you start us off?
With pleasure. Pretty Hate Machine, a fantastic debut to a fantastic band, what can I say? Terrible Lie, Sin, and Head Like a Hole are some of the best songs ever written and are live staples. Without a doubt, this album is an easy S tier.
Actually, Purest Feeling is the first 9 Inch Nails album, Obama. Anyways, this album is absolutely not S tier. It's musically great and a strong debut, but it is without a doubt one of Trent Reznor's most whiny albums to date, with songs like That's What I Get, and the only time with lyrics like I Guess I'm Not the Only Boy for You, and The Devil Wants to Fuck Me in the Back of His Car. It's hard to put it in S. I believe it's solid B tier.
What the hell are you smoking, Joe? While, yes, the lyrics are whiny to an extent, you have to keep in mind that the lyrics are by a heartbroken 24-year-old man. Think about when you were heartbroken or a young man. Now put that in S tier right this instant.
Never.
Whatever. On to the Broken EP. I'll let you handle this one, Joe.
The Broken EP is Trent at his angriest and a record made purely out of spite to his record label, with tracks like Last, which is the closest 9 Inch Nails ever got to metal, and Happiness and Slavery, featuring one of the greatest breakdowns in industrial music. Trent even created a really messed up fake snuff movie for this EP, which I regret watching. The only thing keeping this album out of S is the fact that the Downward Spiral came after. This album is easily high A tier.
Hit the nail right on its head there, Joe.
I see what you did there.
You should have mentioned the cover of Physical by Adam and the Ants, which sampled Trent Reznor's dog barking, who even got credited on the album for her growls. And the cover of Suck by Pigface, not to mention he won a Grammy with a song that uses the word fist fuck. Now it's time for Trent's masterpiece, The Downward Spiral.
What can I say about this record that hasn't been said 1,000 times before? Trent was able to blend industrial music with an amazing narrative about a man's path of self-destruction, with songs like The Becoming in its odd time signature, an acoustic bridge, and Ruiner's guitar solo, which is a homage to Pink Floyd. Overall, this album is the definition of S tier. I mean, without it, none of us would probably even found out about 9 Inch Nails.
Man, you're on fire today, Joe. Besides your comment on Pretty Hate Machine, this album was on heavy rotation during my days in the Oval Office. Trent screaming, "Kill Me in a Racer" is haunting, and Hurt is one of the best songs ever written. I'm glad we can agree this album is S tier.
Yo, what's good, guys? Y'all trying to hop on MW3?
Not right now, Bush. We're ranking 9 Inch Nails albums. We're just about to rank The Fragile if you want to join.
Hell yeah, I'm down. The Fragile should get a tier of its own. It's far more mature in its themes of self-destruction than The Downward Spiral, and is the most musically brilliant album Trent ever created, and may just be the best album of all time. It has layers upon layers of diverse sound design, and has some of the hardest transitions I've ever heard. It's essentially the wall of the 9 Inch Nails Discog.
No, it absolutely is not. The Fragile is an underwhelming, overbloated, downgraded version of the Downward Spiral. It's so boring that it puts me to sleep. The only song on the record I can stand is Somewhat Damaged. The only thing this album has going for it is D tier and its backstory.
Ain't no way this guy's for real.
Joe, when was the last time you listened to The Fragile? This album is Trent's magnum opus and is far better than The Downward Spiral. The best parts of this album are its slow moments, and although I agree with you on the fact it's a little long, it's an amazing record nonetheless. The drop on the big come down is heavenly, and the frail leading to the wretched is a transition only rivaled by Pink Floyd.
It's a little long. Barrack, the album is almost 2 hours long. The Downward Spiral was able to convey its story in only an hour. This album's slower than my dementia-ridden ass. Trent's music is good when it's angry and depressive, not just depressive.
Never in my life have I heard a statement so wrong since the public claimed I did 9/11.
1. You did do 9/11, George, stop lying. 2. Joe, you're outnumbered, and this is taking too long, so we're giving The Fragile its own tier. Cry about it.
I hate you, Barry. If Trump were here, he would agree with me.
Because that's Trump.
Haha, true.
Anyways now, let's talk about Still. A rather unknown record Trent created with quiet versions of existing songs, some outtakes from the cut 1-hour photo soundtrack, and 2 of the most heartbreaking songs ever made.
I've never heard of it.
Go take an hour to listen to it, Joe. Then rejoin once you finish it. We'll wait. Wait a minute, Joe, are you crying right now?
Yes. That was beautiful. And all that could have been is the most amazing song I've ever heard. I take back everything I said about The Fragile. Go put Still in S tier right now.
Glad you came to your senses, Mr. Bidenator. Put Still in the same tier as The Fragile Obama. They go hand in hand.
Done. Now we have With Teeth. I'll be honest, I'm not that big a fan of the more rock approach, so I'll let you two discuss this one.
With Teeth is a great record, and especially great for a comeback album. This album carries a sense of dread throughout. The way it flips your expectations upside down by starting with the more pop-like, lo-fi all the love in the world before slapping you in the face with You Know What You Are.
Hey, did y'all notice that's the name of a Ministry song?
Although there is a very out-of-pocket line in The Collector. Later we get The Line Begins to Blur, a homage to The Fragile, with its abrasive sound and beautiful chorus before a final guitar solo.
Yeah, that song always reminded me of the big come down.
Besides You in Time is after and is a slow burn with an amazing payoff. Then we get Right Where It Belongs, my favorite song in Trent's Discog. I say we should put the album in S tier.
Well, I agree with you, George, that the album is pretty good. I don't think we should put it in S tier because of how much it differs from the style of the band. Also, songs like The Collector and Getting Smaller bring the album down. Love Is Not Enough is a beautiful song, but it's ruined by the ending, which sounds like a cat piano. I say it should go in a tier.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards Joe in this case. Sorry, George, it's going in A tier.
It's all good. It's not like you ever had taste to begin with, Barry.
Oh, says the guy who did 9/11 and defended Hail to the Thief by Radiohead without even getting at what it was saying.
Kill yourself.
The Clintons already got that covered for me. Don't worry, George.
Guys, come on now. We still have to do Year Zero.
Oh, come on. Year Zero was just Diet with Teeth. The instrumentation sounds like my speakers were broken and not in a good way.
What are you talking about, George? Year Zero is the best modern Nine Inch Nails album. Tell me that The Great Destroyer is not a bop.
It's not a bop. The second half sounded like robotic fart noises.
It's called the electronic breakdown, you uncultured swine.
George, are you hating on Year Zero because you actually don't like it, or is it because Trent Reznor hates you? I knew it.
I say Year Zero is S tier. What about you?
Absolutely. Next, we have The Slip. I say this album's a mixed bag. It's got some of Trent's best and worst work in one.
This album's mid, put in with Pretty Hate Machine.
1, it is not mid, and 2, Pretty Hate Machine is awesome.
Next, we got Hesitation Marks, a true sequel to The Downward Spiral and far better than The Fragile.
What happened to taking back everything you ever said about The Fragile?
I'm taking it back.
Jesus Christ.
Go rot and assimilate along with the countless Middle Eastern cities you bombed.
I'll agree with you that Hesitation Marks is a worthy sequel to The Downward Spiral.
Yeah, and it's better than The Fragile.
The Fragile is far better, though. Came Back Haunted is like a parody of 9 Inch Nails, and not in a good way, although it's way better than the Freddie Scott parody of the band.
Yeah, that parody didn't even make sense. It was just a poorly made remake of a copy 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 of a...
Shut it, Joe.
Oh, okay. Let's just put Hesitation Marks in S tier.
Done.
Good, now I'm going to bed.
Wait, but we still have 6 more albums to rank.
And I have 6 more kids to sleep with. Good night.